Hello, everybody. My name is Joe Armenta. I'm a redistricting manager here at Redistricting Partners. You probably worked with both Chris Chafee and Paul on our team. This has been a busy night, this Valentine's Day for redistricting. Apparently, it's a Valentine's Day tradition to redistrict this time of year. But we're just going to walk through the sequencing, which was really the main item left on your agenda for this redistricting period. So I'm going to share my screen. And we have just a short presentation, but most of this we're going to turn to you all for a discussion about the sequencing of the districts. Let's see, there we go. So far the board has approved draft map A at this point. The draft maps were based on cities, keeping cities as whole as possible while also balancing for population and compactness, along with some other factors. Just to zoom in on the map, this is the map that was approved. And I'll just go over to the city slides, and you can see a big chunk of cities are kept together in this one. So B has most Mountain View, A has Palo Alto, D has Los Altos and Los Altos Hills, E takes in Cupertino, and C has a big portion of Sunnyvale. When we look at the demographics, we are well within the allowable population deviation at 6.8%. Remember, we're trying to keep it under 10%, so this map does it. And then also in District E, there is a majority Asian CVAP district as well. So that's also included in this plan. Today, though, we're talking about the sequencing of elections, and basically this is determining when the districts will be up for election, when the members of that district will either be up for re-election or just when, if it's an open seat, when candidates would start, would be on the ballot for voters to decide. It is up to the Board of Trustees to assign the election order for which the new seats are kind of allocated. And then, you know, some things you might want to give that you should take into consideration are purposes of the California Voting Rights Act, but also, you know, just preferences expressed by members of the districts of folks that reside in those districts. So most of this, though, we don't really play a big role in it. This is up for you all to decide in terms of when the districts will come up for re-election, kind of what the number of the districts will be. That is at the discretion of the board. And so, like I said, our presentation today isn't super in depth. We mostly are here to advise you all, but also just to hand it off to you all to let us know how you would like to work out this sequencing. And I think that's all we have. So happy to take questions, but I'm happy to hand it back to y'all.
Great. So let's start with that then. Is there any input on the sequencing of elections from my board colleagues? Trustee Landsberger.
I actually have a proposal, which I'm prepared to make now, unless you want to hear from the public first.
That's right. I didn't get any comment cards in advance, but I'll ask one more time. Are there any comments from the public or comments from anyone? Seeing none. Chancellor Paula, anyone turn to anyone? Seeing none. I will turn to Trustee Landsberger.
So I propose that we actually essentially proceed alphabetically, but don't start with the letter A. I would start with the seat 1 being area B, seat 2 being area C, seat 3 being area D, seat 4 being area E, and seat 5 being area A. And I do have a logic behind that if anybody's interested, but if not, we can.
Yes, I am.
There are 2 basic reasons for that, in my view. The first reason is that 2 trustees, usually we don't look at individual trustees in this process, but in this case, I think it's important. 2 trustees whose terms are expiring this year both live in area E. And I think that board continuity on this board is a value that voters generally appreciate. and that the voters in Area E may very well want to have an opportunity to re-elect one of those board members, who, if we don't hold an election in Area E, neither of them will be able to continue on the board. Both will have to drop out. That's reason one. Reason two, if we do hold an election in which any of the other at-large trustees currently reside, one or more of those at-large trustees may decide to vacate the at-large seat and run for the new four-year term in the area in which he or she lives. And if elected, that would create vacancies. And those vacancies would be filled by appointment of the remaining board members, which I think is frankly irresponsible and should be avoided. I think the people should elect trustees whenever possible, and we shouldn't create vacancies that need to be appointed. So if we have areas C and E as the two even seats, both up for election in 2022, we will be enabling one or more of the trustees who have served ably and showed that they can fulfill the responsibilities of trustee with distinction, available for the voters to return to this board, and not opening an election in an area where an at-large trustee would be inclined to run for the new area seat. That's my logic.
Great. So I know that's sort of an explanation. Is that a motion?
No, I mean, I'd like to have discussion on it, please, and give a different viewpoint.
We will have discussion, but I'm just asking,
That is my motion.
there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second for Peter's motion?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Vice President Cassis. Now discussion. Trustee
The
Wong.
reason why I didn't want to have a motion because I wanted to provide an alternative motion or viewpoint.
Sure, please.
So the first concern that I have with Peter's suggestion is that, number one, we should not be taking positions based on incumbency. We're all here based on agreed viewpoint that we should be looking at it as if it was a clean slate and not looking at where all of us lives. That's my point number one. Point number two is that Peter's half correct in that in Area E, where there is two trustees that live in Cupertino, West San Jose, if for some reason one of them got elected and the other one did not, the other one who did not get elected will serve until 2024 because the other one serves at a full. Okay, so again, I'm going to ask either the chancellor or ask district. Okay, I see what you're saying. Never mind. If it was for us, it would be something different. So I wasn't thinking that way. So never mind. You're correct.
That is.
Peter, you're correct. I got it. I got it. So my other concern is that what I'm suggesting is that if we look at election code section 110, as redistricting partners says, is that because we were sued by a Latino regarding Latino representation, I'm suggesting that area currently number B and number C, which has the highest representation of Latinos, should be done in 2024 because it's an underserved community. And we should be looking at it irrelevant of who is the incumbent. And yes, we would, and I don't want to lose my my fellow colleagues, but my main concern is that looking at it as a community of interest to make sure that those communities are served.
Thank you, Trustee Wong. Are there any other discussion points or comments?
Yes,
Trustee Wong.
I'm not sure if are we also be voting on number A as well too as the final tonight?
Yes, but right now this is just on the sequencing,
Okay.
and
no
then we'll
worries.
be taking a separate final vote on the map. Are there any sequencing questions? We have a motion and a second before us. We have a green slip here. One moment, please. We have a request to speak by Sue Grant. Please head to the podium with the League of Women Voters. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a question, and I just want to verify. So you said that there are two incumbents in area E, and so that's one of your suggestions, right? And then you said C. So is there a trustee currently living in area C?
I do not believe there's a trustee living in area C. That's one reason that I think it's a good area to have an election in 2022, because we will be electing a new trustee there.
Okay, I was sorry to interrupt the discussion, but I wanted to get that answer. Thank you.
No, do not feel sorry. Can be a confusing process, and we welcome the input, so we appreciate that. I like the suggestion by my colleague, Trustee Landsberger. I think that it's very important to have a representative from the map E for Cupertino. And I appreciate our redistricting partners' attention to making sure that we increase our CRV numbers as a large API population that we did not split up. And I also know that Sunnyvale has been lacking a representative, someone who lives from Sunnyvale for decades on this board.
Actually, I think it was Jerry Besson who was the last trustee from Sunnyvale,
and
many years ago.
How long ago was that?
At least 20 years, more than 20 years.
But let's just say before I was born. So I think that's why this is such a good process for us going to area elections, so that you are represented by a trustee who represents and is, living in your community. So I really commend redistricting partners for pushing us through this process and for giving us these draft maps without our involvement, for us to pick on a final map tonight. And again, I'm going to be advocating for Sunnyvale to have their own representative, and for E to be up for election. So I'll be supporting that. I believe I'd like to go for an advisory vote. Advisory vote?
Aye. Aye.
Advisory vote?
Aye.
All right, board vote.
Aye.
Aye. So that is a no from Trustee Wong, and then 4 yeses. So that sequencing passes. All right, and Joe, do you want to lead us to the next process? Or is it finalizing our map?
At this point, it's just finalizing the map. You've decided the sequencing, and then yeah, the map as published has been online for 7 days as well, so it's been available for the public to review. And I believe this is in your hands to pass the final version of the map.
Thank you, Joe. This is a map that we have seen several times before now. Has not changed since the original adaptation from redistricting partners. So I'll turn to my colleagues for a motion. We did approve it last meeting last month.
President Aaron's, could you just ask that you're looking for a motion to adopt the resolution as written for
So I want to
adoption?
make a
of
comment
map?
first before there's an adoption.
If I
please.
could, yes,
Motion.
if I could speak, please. So we haven't seen this before, and we're looking for a motion on adoption of the resolution. And I have a request to speak by Trustee Wong, please.
Thank you, President Aaron's. First, I wanted to explain why I'm not supporting this resolution. And I want to reiterate these 5 points, 6 points, and have it entered in the minutes, please, Paula. Number one, the reason why this board wanted to support this particular map is to make sure that cities are enticed. I mean, that we're going through cities. The city of Sunnyvale, for the record, is going to be divided into 3 districts: District B, C, and D. And I think that's very important for constituents of Sunnyvale to be compacted in 2 districts versus then in 3. Point 2, Sunnyvale Elementary could be in 1 district and not be divided into districts. Again, in the other map C, Sunnyvale Elementary could have been 1 district. Point 3, Cupertino City Council is divided into two districts. 90% would be in E and 10% will be in D as in David. Number 4, half of Cupertino School District will be together with Los Altos Elementary School District, and I just do not see any synergy or community of interest in those particular in map D, in area D and area E. Point number 5, area D of Los Altos. Okay, just want to explain that in area C, South Sunnyvale would be in together with area D. In map D, they're in one area, and I just don't see the synergy of South Sunnyvale, which is in Cupertino Elementary School District, with Los Altos Elementary. Number 5. And lastly, the deviation of 6.3 out of 10%, even though they're within the deviation, the other two maps were even lower than 6.8%. Finally, my interest of not supporting map A is that I do not see any community of interest in map A, particularly for the residents of Sunnyvale and the residents of Cupertino. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, and we will make sure to have those comments in the record for approval of our minutes. Do we have a motion on this? A second?
I'll move adoption of the resolution.
Moved by Trustee Landsberger,
Second.
second by Trustee Homianfar. Is there any more discussion? Trustee Chang?
I just wanted to thank all of our community members and redistricting partners in their work in really helping us move to this new model. We will still be an excellent district. There is no change to what our mission is and who we stand for and what this district is all about. And so I just want to reiterate that. And again, we do this because the census numbers are before us. And so we have done this, as you all know, through a period of many weeks and up to many months. And so we have put in a lot of thought and taken a lot of input. And so again, but our mission stays strong. We do it hopefully, again, for the community and for the community's education mission. So thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, Trustee Cassis. Well, I just want to thank everyone for participating in this process, from the public to my fellow colleagues to members of the League of Women Voters, just everyone who's been involved, the countless hours that it's taken to, on behalf of our administration and Becky, to get the word out there, to make sure that we have this process. There's so many hours that the community has not seen to make this possible. It's never going to be a perfect process, but I appreciate you all being here with us and helping us make it as perfect as we can be, so we can have a great representative board of trustees for our district. I'm excited about this change, and I know that there's going to be only better things to come. And I see Vice President Cassis.
I just wanted to add that this process is sort of dividing the district in sort of like a pie. So instead of voting for the whole pie, you voted for little chunks of the pie. And too long, like 10 years ago, Palo Alto had 3 trustees. Cupertino had 0. Now 3 are in Cupertino and Palo Alto has 0. So this is gonna like help representatives from the at-large district be truly represented on the board. Now there's pros and cons to that issue, but just to a point of clarification, we weren't sued. We were threatened suit. So we're not responding to this because we were sued. We were told that if we didn't follow the this law passed by the Civil Rights Act in California and the federal Voting Rights Act, that this would follow a suit. So that's why we're doing this. There's no, like President Aaron said, that we can't, there's not a perfect, it's not a perfect map. And Cupertino could never, in the next 10 years, there's going to be 3 trustee districts, and probably they're all going to be Asian from, because just the way the population is going. And we may not even have a Latino district. There's been a lot of Latinos leaving the area because of the housing prices. And so it's dwindled, really. I talked to the Mountain View Wisman School Board district members, and that's happening right now in Mountain View. So still, we do have representation, equal representation, and hopefully, I won't say hopefully, I think we do have an amazing district. We have great leadership. We have, and it's not just the leadership of the district, it's the people who make up the district, the faculty and the classified staff, the janitors, the police, we all make, it is an amazing district. So, and we will continue to have excellence and great transfer rates and great innovation. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited about this process.
Thank you, Vice President Cassis. And with that, I would like to call for our advisory vote on this map
Aye. Aye.
and board vote.
Aye.
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 That's 4 yeses and 1 no. That passes. Thank you so much, Joe, and please extend our thanks to your entire team.
Thank you all.